So I'm thinking that this is it. This is the gang for this evening. Or I mean, it's a 7 o'clock start, isn't it? Not half seven. Is that right?
I think it's 7:04, 7:30 usually, but
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I
Well, should
mean,
we hang on till Daz is going to sign off and lay down, and I'll text him later to send him a message later to stop the recording. But I think I was. I mean, if I don't know what everyone else's plans were, I was going to still stick to the kind of boot around a few questions, but I was going to try and do the news as well. And I've got it all in an agenda. So I think I
oh,
might do it for
marvelous.
posterity so that it goes up on the recording because it's like the day after lab, kind of day after lab open. So shall I do it? Shall I do it
Lovely.
after 7:30 maybe when the last
Uh,
stragglers might be there, or do you want to hit it up straight away and have a chat for a couple of hours or so or something? Or no, open that
I'm
up to
kind of
you.
guessing that people will be here by now, but
I would have thought that.
usually it's a break at 7:30 to go and top your glass up sort of thing, but
Yeah.
that's fine. I'm sure if anyone turns up, they'll just, yeah, we can always run over it again.
Right. Well, should we give it like the last 4 minutes and
Yep,
then
fine.
do a swap over as if everyone was here? But I think everyone is languishing in the successful weekend that Lab and everyone else had as well, I think.
I have a starting question.
Oh, yeah.
Um, what is Arthur drinking?
I was going to say that. What are
Oh,
you drinking?
this. This is my
Raspberry.
very first sour beer that I've ever brewed. So those come out on
Mm.
camera very, very well. But it's a raspberry sour. So
Oh, nice.
um,
It's got
yeah,
good
so
coloration.
Isn't
yeah,
it?
I mean it's I'm very, very pleased with it too, to be honest. So it was just a 10-litre batch. We just used Philly sour for
Mm-hmm.
a couple of days, and that dropped the pH down to I can't remember the exact numbers, but it's like low threes, maybe 3.3 or something like that, 3.4. And then I put in about 3 grams of Kvike. And the idea behind that, well, at least in my head, was that then the Kvike will quickly get through whatever sugars are left to try and stop the Philly sour from making it any more sort of tart. So I don't know if it did or not. I have no idea. I've got nothing to compare it against. But
I think in my experience, the Philly sour tends to do its work in the first 24 hours. And I suppose the only thing is that by adding in the fruit at a later point, you are adding more sugars. So it can creep a little bit again when you're adding more sugars at that point, because it'll then take those and try and convert them as well. But I don't think it makes marginal difference later on, from what I understand.
yeah, well, I mean, I've got nothing to compare it against. So yeah, I put about 3 grams of Kvite. I can't remember which one I used now. And then once it was done, then I put in I think it was a litre of raspberry puree in a 10-litre batch. So
It's about 10%. Hmm? And
yeah,
what's the level like of
uh, ABV, do you mean?
raspberryness?
Oh, very, very
No, I
strong.
mean of
Yeah,
raspberryness.
yeah, it's about well, anyway, it's about 4.2, 4.5%, I think. I don't know how much. It's obviously fermented out from the raspberry. But yeah, it's very, very strong, very, very pronounced. So
Ah, cool.
yeah, so very, very chuffed with it. So yes, I might be moving into the dark side of sours, enjoying Jacks, and doing some weird, lambics and whatever. So
Did you enter it into Lab Open? Because I think I judged like five straight sours with raspberry. There were variations like a
Oh,
Berliner Weisser and a Philly and a few other variations. But
no, no,
and,
I
and
did, I
yours
didn't
wasn't
enter
one
it.
of them.
No, no. I mean, like I say, I've drunk a few sours in my time, so I don't know how this stacks up at a competition level. But yeah, well, like I say, it's my first one, so it's more just trying it out, really. And yeah, so yeah, I think I'll brew a
I
few more
liked
because
Philly
then,
sour. Well, I used Philly
pardon?
sour a couple of times on
Mm,
the same thing. I did a raspberry sour as like my
mm,
first one. And I just really liked it. It was really kind of easy to use as a first, as you say, dipping your toe in.
mm, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The raspberry puree wasn't particularly expensive, so which is probably why he has so many raspberry sours to judge there, Jackson. It's the cheapest fruit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It also gives the biggest kind of pop of fruit, I think, doesn't it? Raspberry is the most one that leaps out the easiest, gives you the best flavour for your buck. I think I used frozen raspberries out of the supermarket or something like that. I pretty much doubled the price of the cost of the brew. It's just like whatever, 15 quid's worth of raspberries or something. Cheap. It's worth it though, because it lasts ages. It lasted like a year or 18 months. I think I had 15 litres of it or something like that and didn't like cane it. But it never changed over that time.
I wonder if that's a factor of the fact that it's quite so acidic. Nothing's got any chance of surviving in there, therefore it's going to have a bit more survivability.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I made Signature occasionally run out a lemon sour called Sea Bomb or Sea Sharp, sorry, and I made an effort at that. Kind of had a little bit of a nose around for sort of recipe details, and then in the end, I sent them a little email and said, "This is what I'm planning to do. I'm going to try and replicate your C sharp," and they were kind enough to come back with a few pointers back, which was quite nice of them. It came out quite good. I was quite happy with it, and again, it lasted well. My kids have seemed to be quite partial to a sour, so I shall probably knock that up again for the summer. Again, it's a lovely thirst quencher in the summer, ice cold.
Lemon sour. That sounds
Mm.
good. I've never had a lemon sour. I've got a can of sour in from Hackney Church Brew in the fridge, and I'm gonna have to go and get it now. All that talk, and then should we break for a beer and go whatever else anyone wants to do, and then come back and I'll do the little news bit, and then we can have a chat and see how long we want to do anything for. And
Sure.
Jack's got an actual question in, and
Yes.
he's here.
Yeah.
Other Jack had a question in as well. Jack Packham. Um, so there are a few questions knocking
Okay.
about, and we can hit them off and then see where we go, because it would be good to
Okay.
spend
Cool.
our time while we're here, made the effort.
I shall
But
top up my beer then.
yeah, I'm gonna go and get a sour. Be right back. I think I saw Ken. He's gone again.
He didn't.
There he is. All right. Oh, he's gone again.
Oh, gone again.
This is a fruits of the forest one. By the name of that, I'm sure they just went to the supermarket as well and got the frozen fruits of the forest. Nice, eh? Just
Quite a busy month of May, the month of May. Lots of beer things happening. I mean, it's just lab open, just been Hazenbrow, just lab open, and then
yeah,
another meeting.
it has. That's been like 4 meetings in 8 days or something, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mental. I was looking. Last year, Lab Open was in July or something at Bohem. Is that
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I was just intrigued why it was a
It was
different part of the time of
if I
year.
if I go back now, I think it was March, and Serge came to me and he said, I don't think Lab Open's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Because Hamilton couldn't confirm. They were sort of ghosting us and we didn't have a venue. So we were like really, really close to just canceling. Um, I ran around, sent lots of emails out looking for a venue. My favorite venue that I wanted was Five Points
Mm,
in Hackney. They have an amazing place out back. I even met with them. They
it's
were
hidden
keen in
place.
many ways. The head brewer, who I can't remember, said they've even judged for us, and they were really, really keen. And it was right at the end, and they said, um, I said, so do you have cooling space? Because, you know, um, we need to keep the beers cold. And they go, oh no, we're busy converting our kitchen into, sorry, our freezer into a kitchen. Um,
Oh,
so no, they won't have any space to keep our bottles cold. And that
oh,
just destroyed the whole thing. And then it was just a few days later where I spoke to Bohem and they said, yeah, they got a new pub and it all just happened and we couldn't deliver to the venue, still can't because the pub's only open in the afternoon, but that's how it all happened. And we had to postpone it to July because we just, at that point, it was April and we didn't even know yet. So we just slotted it in between some other competitions and
yeah,
it all worked out. Yeah.
yeah. No, it
Um,
did.
yeah. So we moved it back to May this year. Yeah.
Got it. All right.
Before
I
you
think
start,
everyone's back.
yeah,
Yeah.
before you start, Steve, before you start, you
Yes.
reminded me that I did a Philly sour
Oh,
in January 2022, and I've had this bottle in the fridge ever
oh
since.
yeah.
So I'm going to open
You can
it
do it.
live. I've got a tea towel just in case. It's as flat as a pancake.
Uh-huh. There he is again.
Ken,
He keeps popping up and disappearing. There he goes.
you disappeared again, Ken. Ah.
Like a practical joke or something. I'm enjoying it though. And how is it, Mark?
I've got some vinegar for my chips.
Oh, really?
I don't know what I've. It's one of those things I've had it in the fridge, and it's just I must get rid of that. I must get rid of that, and I've just never got rid of it. And then you were talking about it, and I thought, let's get rid of it.
So it's
There's still a bit of fruitiness in there, but yeah, it's a bit too yeah, vinegary now and flat, completely flat.
okay.
Oh, well, I had slightly more success than you. I found my C-bomb,
Oh, look at
my
that.
Nice.
lemon sour,
That's a
Okay,
hell of
my
a head,
mistake. I
Stuart.
put it in a glass with a scratched bottom.
Well done.
So yeah, it's got a bit of a float on it, but that's fine.
Yeah.
But
It
it's
looks,
cracking. Absolutely gorgeous. That's from April 24.
and that
Absolutely
was
lovely.
remind us again, that was the
So
signature
that's
brew,
Signature Brew. It's a clone of Signature Brew's C Sharp. I
which is
think
like
actually I might
lemon
have
sour.
brought you a bottle once, Jack, for a try.
Yes. I'm trying to remember. You gave me a bottle of that. That was really, really good.
Yeah, yeah.
With
So and
lemon.
I have one left downstairs.
All right.
It's a nice
I shall
color on it.
treasure it.
Because I always find the taste of lemon can be a bit sharp for a sour beer, but that one, the balance was really good.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm pleased with that. I'm gobsmacked, A, that I found a bottle, and B, that it's cracked and it's been absolutely fine. And that was with a pet bottle as well.
Looks
So there you
great.
go.
Lovely color. And what are you
Tighten
drinking,
them up
Ken?
tight enough and they're good.
What have you got? What have you got in your glass, Ken? Is it a sour? Everyone seems to be on a sour today.
No, I've got a pint of me Hazenbrow award-winning beer.
Oh, yeah. Excellent.
Still celebrating.
Yeah.
Well, that is a perfect segue. Oh, no, tell us about it, because it was American hops, right? In that. Is that right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
I missed this show.
it was deliberately brewed. Well, I was actually brewed it as something different to throw into the beer bores West Coast, West Coast is best coast competition because I always run the same competition, and I thought, well, I'm going to throw in a curveball beer for the crack, and then I thought, oh, hang on a minute, that like almost like sort of corresponds with what Hazenbrow is this year as well, so I might as well do it for that. So I had a couple of iterations trying to trying to make it like a bitter, but with American hops, but not with, but without the hops taking over the beer. So, and
Mm,
also trying to make it not an IPA and also not an American amber.
mhm.
Um, it was, there were lots of boundaries that I was sort of straddling, and eventually I thought it was too hoppy, so I took the hops out of the whirlpool and added a bit more of some darker crystal to it, just to give it much more of a toffee sort of caramel, traditional English sort of flavour. And yeah, I think it just about works. Well, everybody who was there on the
Well,
night seemed to think it worked as
certainly seemed
well.
to work.
Yeah, it is very bitter though. I was trying to keep it bitter because I thought that's the crossover point for the hops as well, and also because I'm trying to enter it into the other competition in which bitterness is most definitely going to be required. So yeah, yeah. So sort of an accidental um, decent beer.
Yeah, so it seems. Good
Yeah.
work. Well done.
Cheers.
I thought if you're going to come up with a style called a West Coast bitter, then that would be a really good example of it because you could tell it was a bitter and you
Mm.
could also tell the sort of American triple C hops both at the same time.
Mm.
Yeah, from that perspective, I thought it was a really, really good beer. It is what it
Yeah.
says on the can, on
Yeah.
the
Thanks. I
Oh,
bottle.
mean,
nice.
that's what I was going for, trying for it to be that exact sort of
Yeah.
cross point. I'm not sure there were any sea hops in it in the end.
Oh,
Um,
right.
oh no, there
Because
were.
it
There
came
were.
through that
Sorry,
it,
it was there was Chinook at in the mash and at first wort, and then at the end there was um, basically the remnants of some packets that we got given years ago from the Yakima guy.
Oh,
So
yeah.
some remnants of cryo mosaic and the one that eventually became Crush. Yeah. So more like modern sort of tropical flavors, but the piney sort of pithiness from the Chinook in there.
I judged a West Coast Pils on the weekend. Came in under mixed something or other. It was in the IPA, I think. It came under that umbrella. It was quite good, but yeah, it was wasn't so much Pils character in it. It was quite difficult because the hops pretty much took over.
They just took it over. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing with you're trying to do those hybrid styles. You've really got to meet in the middle. Otherwise, yeah, one of the aspects does just take over. And those hops
Yeah.
are so powerful.
Exactly.
And Pils is like Pils malt is a very delicate kind of like little thing that you don't want to, fiddle about with too much, do you?
It's a right tricky devil.
Mm.
So, I think this is it. This is the combined people who aren't laying out on the sofa watching Homes Under the Hammer or some black and white movie they can have the snooze to with some comfort food. Still a little bit hungover, so everybody else is. So I was, for posterity, things is going to go up as probably a video. I was going to do the news, do the lab quick roundup, and then like what's coming up, and then do the questions. Is that all right? So I just do that so that we've done it. So the weekend was lab open. It was amazing. So many amazing judges, so many amazing beers, so many people from around the world. Lab pipped Pinamaggio to the best club with the help of this big list of lab medal winners, and they're going to do the little roll call if that's all right with everybody. So we had some golds from Steve Blackery with his English Porter, which was very good. I think that, and it made it to the boss indeed. We had a gold red IPA on the American IPA table from James Wilson. It was excellent work. Coming in on the silvers, we had Serge's smoked best bitter on the bitters table. A silver for Jacques. Well done, Jacques. For triple heart. And silver for James Cross for his classic smoked beers. Two silvers for smoked beers. Smoked, having a resurgence. And as if to underline it, the bronzes topped by Jacques with a Rauch beer as well. Also running in for bronzes, we've got Arthur, who is with us this evening as well for his Rhine and Shine. See, we did there. German Pils. Mm-hmm. Phil Turner, Czech Pale. Luke Russell had a bronze for a spice herb veg beer called Please Insert Coffee. It's like a self-deprecating gag of the thing that he didn't put in. Maybe, I don't know. If it was in the style list of spiced herb veg, don't know. I didn't have it. It was in dark British though. I don't know the one. And then honourable mention for Guy's Lambic. Long live the Lambic, which I think we can all attest to. Lab Champion Club pipped Pinamaggio by a couple of points, and then there was a big long way until third. Amazing competition. Well done, Serge, who's having a lie down, and Anthony and everyone else who pulled it together. Thanks to Bohem for hosting us, and I must give him the ring because I left half my clothes there. I left a jacket somewhere, so I have to go and collect that. Which is a terrible excuse to go back and pick it up.
Year as well, didn't they?
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
It means I've got to go back this week. Might have a little pint when I'm in there picking up. Must remember to leave things at places I want to go back to more often.
Yeah, I did the same thing last year at the Lager and Life at Pillars. My keys accidentally fell out of my coat pocket, and I had to go back in the week and take the missus up for a beer and lunch out, and
Oh yeah. What Perfect coincidence. There's loads of photos from the weekend. The score sheets are all up incredibly quick by James, within seconds, I think, almost. So they're all up. Loads of photos are going up. So we can all have a look at those. And that was a little segue into something that I was mentioning a little bit earlier before a couple of people popped up, that with been looking at giving the website a bit of a tart up a little bit, so make it a bit more approachable for new people, a bit more obvious to find things, events, have a calendar, just to kind of bring it up to date a little bit, make it a bit more user friendly maybe. So the front has got, pictures and stuff. And I know Daz works very hard keeping the thing going as well. But I kind of, because I kind of do websites a bit for work, I've kind of stepped up, I guess, to kind of try and do something with it. We've got a couple of volunteers as well already, or in the gang. So Arthur is back-end development, so if we need some of that, and Daz does systems and stuff like that as well. So a general call out, if anyone has got any ideas or experience or anything they want to any ideas they want to throw at what we could do with it, any things they've seen on other websites, or just anything really. I think I'll open up a new channel in Slack, website relaunch, something like that, and we'll start chucking everything in there and we can throw it about. And I think probably maybe when there's anything to show, just show it at a meeting kind of thing. This is the latest update, a bit like you do with work, basically. So I was really trying to bring it up to date and put some analytics on it, that kind of thing, treat it like a proper commercial site. But having everything on there as well. So all our beer stuff, all the photos, all the recipes, trying to keep it all in there. Okay, did you? Yeah, a couple of people there are some hidden channels of the wiki submissions, as Ken is saying. The wiki is separate to the site. The photos gallery is separate to the site at the minute. So somehow it would be nice to bring it all together. It doesn't matter so much, I guess, if the wiki links off. But what I'd like to do is bring lots of like tips and tricks and like a blog section of, all those little discussions that go on in general and education channel and all those kind of things. People are like, that's a really good idea. Or like, I didn't think of that. Or can someone help me out with this? And like a bit of knowledge gets imparted. And then because of our Slack freebie subscription, all of that knowledge falls off the edge of a cliff after 90 days. It's really disappointing. So it would be, I would want to capture all of that as well, have a kind of knowledge base of interesting things. So if you wanted to look up pressure fermenting or something like that, or mash hopping, or, people's experience with Philly sour or something like that, you could dive in and find lots of stuff, because there's already an incredible amount of info on there. The presentations, like the videos, are all like really what they call rich content, isn't it? So it'd be nice to add a bit more of that, give it a bit more of a profile, that kind of thing. Anyway, there'd be a channel for that. Next, I think Fountain Bridge yeast was given out at the Hazenbrow, which you're going to come to in a minute, because that's a little segue in. So I think everyone's going to brew whatever they want with this Fountain Bridge yeast from WHC. Is that right? And bring it to September, so you can do anything with it. It's one of those versatile yeasts. Say again. October. Sorry. Right. Yeah. October. And then just have a a drink off, I think is the idea. If Pete Simons is watching this back in Australia, there's one on the way to you. Be posting one out for you. Which brings us to the Hazenbrow, which I think seems such a long time ago. It was only last week. It was a week ago, right? Already, it's insane. We have our top two winners with us this evening. Ken and Jack were top two. 17 entries, is that right? I think that's the biggest Hazenbrow entry spread there's been.
One of them, yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I wasn't there, sadly. I was very disappointed not to be
Your
there.
beer was, though, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. I managed to sneak it in over the weekend. So yes, so if anyone was there, do they want to give us a quick rundown? I mean, Ken and Jack, maybe.
I really enjoyed it. I was just sipping each one. There were a few that sort of stood out. There was a smoked bitter, and was that Surge's, I guess. And I would also probably mention Ken's West Coast bitter, which was interesting as a concept as such. I felt a good half of them had that typical homebrew sort of a bit thin and everything is there, but just lacks a bit of oomph. But then the other half, I thought there were some really, really good examples of bitters as such. So yeah, I mean, as an evening, it's amazing to taste 17 beers. It's really a rush, and you have to make notes just to try and remember and then keep a score. But how do you do that on the first and second beer? Because out of what in relation to what? So you have to sort of keep your favorites in mind and keep going. And we did discuss it amongst ourselves, trying to think we don't influence each other. We do influence each other, but I think in the end, everyone just votes what they think is the best anyway. Yeah. I really enjoyed it. It was a fun evening. Hazenbrow is always great. Looking forward, and I guess the next part is to say congratulations to Ken.
Indeed. Congratulations to Ken. Second year in a row.
Yeah.
We have to decide what's going to be next year now, don't we?
I was going to say
put that to a vote.
Yeah.
You're thinking of a hat trick, Ken?
Well, it would be difficult to try and avoid that temptation now. I mean, this year I was trying to get rid of the damn thing, and now I've got it back again. I'm like, oh.
Well, in that case,
I
there can only be one
really
beer for next year. It's got to be an alt beer, hasn't it?
Yeah, I suppose. Make it
That's a good idea.
Make it something really hard for me to brew, like something Belgian. Then I would definitely not win.
I don't think we want 17 quads. Somebody mentioned that on last Monday night, and the thought of trying to get through 17 quads we'd just be destroyed by the end of the night.
Yeah, it would be quite messy by the end. We wouldn't make it to the end.
I'm not sure we would. Oh dear.
I noticed even on judging on Saturday morning, I was doing American IPAs, and they were all like mid 6% or something like that. I think after about 3 or 4, the guy I was judging with both looked at each other and were like, "Oh, it was Chris Burrows from Reading." We both looked at each other and went, "Are you feeling this already?" Well, I don't know how much longer I'm going to last. But yeah, it really does pick you up. Really does catch you out, doesn't it? So yeah, 17 quads. You know.
Yeah, that's not going to happen, is it?
I mean, it was impressively run. It worked well. Surgeon Gee had a real good system of getting the beers up and round, clearing away, and it kept on a good rhythm to keep people interested and to keep it moving. I mean, I don't think we've done a night where we've done 17 beers and given, a mini review, but you've had enough chance to have a very quick chat on the table you're on and write something down, come up with a score. I mean, I don't think it would work for a proper review night. You'd need to cut the numbers down for that, but it worked really well on last Monday. Fair play to them. They did a great job on that.
Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. And so, yeah, so the floor is open for next year's theme. No rush, unless it's going to be Imperial Stout.
I've always thought a theme for Hazenbrow should be a style or a theme that includes as many brewers as possible. So if it's Brett, there'd be a lot of people that wouldn't enter. If it's a lager, I think some people with smaller space, it's also a bit difficult. So I think a bitter ticked all those boxes and it's easy, but I think overall, considering that we want to be inclusive, it probably limits our theme a bit more. Rye was another inclusive theme and so on.
Yeah.
But if someone tells me, yeah, it has to be a Brett beer, I don't know. It's a nice idea, but I think you wouldn't get 17 beers then.
Have we done stouts ever on a Hazenbrow
Did
or
Porter
something?
1 year.
Don't
Did
port.
Porter 1 year, that's
Yeah,
right.
Lee
Yeah.
won it, obviously.
Naturally.
That's a
It's
good theme,
a
actually.
lab standard. Stout might be interesting, mightn't it? Because it's fairly easy to do, I think. Isn't it? You know what? I've never made one. Ridiculously.
Stout, a dry stout.
Yeah, never done
Never.
one. No,
What?
I
Oh,
don't know.
there you go. There's a challenge. I mean, sometimes like the Hazenbrow, I've treated it like that as well. I've never made one of those, so I'm going to make it. Like when we were doing the sours a few years ago, that Jacques won, I'd never made that's a sort of sour beer like it was one with Philly sour. Never made one. Just do it for the crack. Just see how it works, and yeah, it's good fun trying your hand at something different.
Yeah. It's one of the good things about the club. It is quite wide ranging and broad, and get the opportunity to do something like that. All right. And I was just going to say the last thing. In fact, I forgot to mention this. That Jack Packham has stepped up to take on Lab Open 27. As Serge is going to hand that one over to him, and he did really well organising everything today. I think today over the weekend with organising a lot of the stewarding and just being generally busy about town. So he's going to take it on. I mean, congratulations and thank you very much. I'm sure he's going to get lots of help as well. This is quite the big thing.
Yeah.
The other things we've got coming up is the Elusive collab brew day. I've got that down as Friday the 10th of July. Friday's a weird day. Why does it say Friday?
Yes, that's correct. Friday the 10th of July. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Andy said to me when we are having our preliminary discussions that a weekday would work better for him. So like, well, we just make it easier for whoever we're gonna collaborate with. We've still got to get there early though. That's the problem. He's going to be wanting to mash in by 9 o'clock. So getting all the way out to Finchamstead, which is not on public transport. Well, I mean it is, but you have to get to Reading or Wokingham first, and then get another bus. But apparently buses do run regularly from Wokingham to Finchamstead, like one every 20 minutes or something. We don't all have to turn up at the same time, but as long as a good few of us are there for the start, so that he's not doing all the hard work himself. Yeah, that should be a fun day. But one thing we've got to do before that is decide what we're going to brew. So that is, yeah, we've had initial discussions, but I actually spent before I came on here, I was on the phone to Rich Locke for half an hour talking to him about barrels. So looks like he's got one 220 litre whiskey cask that we can have. I can't remember what he called it. It's called an STR cask. I can't remember what the acronym is now. So like shaved, toasted, and repaired or something like that. But it's had new make whiskey in it for the last 3 years. So that's going to be available. And he was then saying possibly uh, he is looking to offload some of his rum. So he's thinking of now emptying an ex-bourbon rum cask into some octaves. So we'll have this 200 litre ex-bourbon rum cask. We could put beer in as well. So potentially we could have two different aged barrel aged beers.
So like a rum one and a
Yeah. Because
whiskey
you got the
one.
rum one is from an ex bourbon as well, so you got all of those flavors going on as well. And that one would work with any kind of strong beer, really, from an imperial stout to a barley wine to a quad. Yeah, so that's what he's come up with at the moment. That's what he could have available for the end of July, right? Which would be roughly when we would be kegging or doing the equivalent of kegging. So we just need to have a chat with Andy now and put a recipe to him and see what does he think. He might not want to have two different casks. I mean that's two lots of labelling and canning for him, isn't it? So yeah, we just have to have a chat with him and see what approach he takes. But he seems pretty relaxed about the whole thing, really. Saying that he's prepared to brew a beer that's like 10, 11, 12%, whatever. I mean, Rich said to me that he'll ensure that the casks are wet when they get sent up. So whatever we put in it is going to get strengthened by the liquor that's already in there. So if you put a 10% beer in a rum cask, it may end up being 13% by the time that it's actually aged.
Amazing.
So that sounds
That
fun.
sounds like a great
Anyway,
one.
so yeah, it's all started to move. The cogs have started to grind. So yeah, looking forward to that.
Great. And there's a lab channel for that as well, isn't there? The Elusive Retribution collab channel, is that right? Brewovision. Can I kick that to Jacques?
Okay, so Panamaju have confirmed that Brewovision 2026 is happening. Lab is organizing it, but I'm in a permanent role at the moment, so I won't have as much time as I did last year. So I'm not doing the preliminaries to the degree that last year we did a full BJCP, opened it up to everyone else in England, and we had a whole day of it. That's not happening, so we're going to tone it down. I've sent an email to previous winners, various clubs, inviting them to either send me a beer or bring a beer with to the September lab meeting, which is probably a big ask for someone based in Norwich, but there you go. But they can just post me a beer and I'll take it with on the day, and we'll have one bottle of each and 5 categories. We need to pick a winner. The winner then needs to send another 10 bottles. Last year we sent 2 bottles for each entry. People complained saying if there's more countries involved, then that's too much. So now it says at least 1 bottle, 2 if you can. It looks like we're going to have 7 countries. Sorry, 8, including us. So you need to probably send 7 bottles, but we'll aim for 10 because you don't know who's going to join last minute, because that happened last time as well. And then we'll send 1 around to each other country in Europe, and we might even have some spare if there's any breakages and so on. And So dates, 7th of September is the meeting, the lab meeting where we will decide our winners in the 5 categories. And on the 4th of October, I've spoken to Beer Merchants Tap where we had the finals last year. It's a Saturday and they've semi-confirmed, but apparently if anyone's playing football in the stadium by the Olympic Park, which I believe is, I don't watch football, but it's West Ham, is it?
Hmm.
If they're playing a match that day, then it's a no because they get crazy crowds coming off in the afternoon. I actually personally think it's still doable because the crowds only show up at around 5, 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock, is that right? Whereas we'll do the presentation at 5. So we can actually finish up before they start arriving. I don't know. I don't think if we're lucky, then there is no match that day and we get the place. They were really happy with us last time. If not, we might look for a different venue. I don't know. I don't know what that looks like. It can be any place. We just need some sort of screen where we can show it.
Yeah, the only issue with that, Jack, is that we might not know for a while whether there's going to be a game on or not, because as it stands, West Ham I don't know whether they're going to be in the Premier League next year, and obviously, like Sky takes precedence over, seemingly takes precedence over when football fixtures are played at the top flight. So often the games are not played at 3 p.m. on a Saturday. And could easily be like a 5:30 kickoff, or maybe even a 12:30 kickoff. And until we
5:30
know
kickoff is
where
good,
West Ham
12:30
are going to
no.
be, and when the fixture list is released, which may not be for a couple of months. I mean, that might be too late for deciding, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I think
Okay.
fixture
We
lists
we
are
can look at
normally put
different
out
venues.
around July, but
I mean, what we're asking for is not that complicated. We just want a
yeah,
pub or something that we can plug a laptop in and, show a presentation from YouTube.
hmm,
Um, that's really what we're looking for. Beer Merchants is great because their beer selection is great, but if we don't have that, it's okay. So it could be just any pub if they have a screen. It's not that complicated. It's not like we're asking to store loads of beers and stuff. We'll just bring a load of the beers in the morning.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't realize we would only know until what, August?
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. 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 So the 5 categories are pale lagers, and they're actually quite relaxed. They sent us a list of which BJCP styles, but as long as it's something lager-ish and as long as it's pale, it's okay. So Pilsner, Helles, I think even Helles Bock would be okay. Even a Kolsch would be okay. If you could come up with a British pale lager, that would also be okay, etc., etc. Um, I think then the second one is pale Belgian beer. So a quad, no, a triple, yes, blonde, yes, saison, yes, as long as it's pale, etc., etc. IPAs, they split those between hazies, West Coast, and double IPAs, but any specialty IPA would also be accepted. Then strong beers, they said it's imperial stouts, barley wines, and quads. But last year there was a wooded quad, um, even if it's spiced, even if it's a spiced imperial Kolsch, I think that would also be okay. But we're thinking like something strong. And then the last one is sour beers. We actually pushed back on this last year because they said it had to be a fruit lambic or a gueuze. We said that's impossible to brew in the time period. So they expanded that to any sour beer. This time they came back and they said mixed firm, fruit lambic or gueuze. And so I thought, okay, fair enough. But then the final list is basically any sour beer you can think of. Berliner Weisse, straight sours, anything. So as long as it's sour, so that's oat brain, Flemish Reds, anything you can think of. Um, so they're quite relaxed about the styles actually, and I was hoping it would change since last year, that maybe we could have a dark beer or an English bitter category and so on. But no, I guess if you're organizing it, you get first dibs on choice, right? And that's Funimaju. So yeah, maybe once the competition gets bigger and so on, it'll be in a true Eurovision that the previous year's winners get to decide where it's held and how it's held and what the categories are for the next year. I think that would be more in the spirit of things, but let's see where it goes. Yeah, we're hoping that if a country joins, then they would never leave. It depends. But the day itself was immense fun. It was really well organized by Panamaju. Um, yeah, and I'd join just for that, or just come along, even if you didn't enter or anything. It was great. Okay, any questions about Eurovision?
No, that sounds amazing. I didn't realize you could just rock up. But is there going to be would there be enough to drink if we all rocked up? Or is it just to witness?
If we're doing one bottle, yeah, we'd struggle.
Yeah, no, exactly.
But it's more about cheering your
Yeah,
team on, right?
indeed. I mean, maybe we should like try and film it or something like that and get a, get something up on the site.
I
Yeah,
dread to
because there's
sorry, I dread to think of us lot dressed up as a Eurovision type crowd in the background.
Might be yes, there might be a step too far.
we do like a pre-recording where we give our points, um,
Oh,
and that then gets joint up in a big recording, and then as we announce points, that then comes up on a screen in their final video that they put together. So they call us like a couple hours before and they want to know the points. And then in the final presentation, it's all sort of cut and edited, and then the
Um,
points come up, and it's actually quite exciting to see who wins and who doesn't.
so is there a video of that of last year's knocking
Yes,
around?
yes. I
I
shared it
haven't.
on Slack, but I can send it around
That
again.
would
Yes.
be yeah,
If
yeah.
you
One I'd
YouTube,
like to see it.
just search YouTube Brewer Vision Panamaju. I don't
Oh,
know. Yeah. It's about 45 minutes long.
I didn't see it. Okay.
I shan't comment on the music choice.
Was it?
Is it not all death metal? I thought that's what the Finns were into. No,
If there's a polar opposite of death metal, then that's what they
that's what it
chose.
was it?
Yeah.
So it was proper Eurovision tunes.
and
Oh,
I
right.
turned onto the Eurovision about 3 times the other night, just flicking channels and thought, no, no, no. What a pile of crap.
It's a tough watch.
Yep. You're either really into it or you ain't. I ain't.
Um, all right. Thanks, Jack. The only other thing I've got on here upcoming is the BJCP tasting exam on Saturday, the 18th of July, probably at MASH Paddle, being organised by Ken. And how's that? Have you got a full list of people, or are there spaces still?
Yeah, nearly. We've got essentially I've got 2 slots left. Um, yeah, I haven't asked anyone for money yet, so they might all go scurrying when I ask them for money. But yeah, so essentially there's 2 slots left, which is good because the last time we ran an exam, we only had 5 people, and I had to like scrabble around to try and cajole people to turn up on the day, um, which is a bit embarrassing.
So how many slots on this one? How many places.
12 is the
12.
standard. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's different this time because we don't need to, fly in any proctors from Europe anymore. So it will be a lot cheaper for the BJCP to actually hold the exam, and they won't have to pay any expenses to anyone.
So explain that to people who don't know how the proctoring works and what that means for you guys as the new national judges.
Well, usually we have to proctor the exam. You have to have judges with a national rank. Sometimes they give exceptions, but they've started a few years ago, deciding that they weren't going to give out many exceptions anymore, and they were expecting you to arrange proctors to come in from Europe. And since we only had one national judge in the UK who was not often very available, it made it quite difficult to host an exam because you never know who you're going to get. First of all, whether your exam is going to run, and then you kind of need the proctors to run the exam. But then if you don't run the exam, then you book it, then you can't tell the proctors so that you can book them to come to the exam, because people need to book flights and things. So it's a bit of a kind of sort of self sort of fulfilling or defeating cycle in a way. And yeah, but now we don't have to go through any of that pissing around, people not answering emails and things like that. I can just go, James, Anthony, you're proctoring the exam on July the 18th, and that's the end of it.
Excellent.
And yeah, somebody else can do the admin for the next one. Then I'll pass it on to well, James or Anthony or even you, Steve.
If I up my game, I looked. Serge sent round the points from Lab Open today, so I looked in my score as well, and I've got enough judging points. I've got enough blah blah blah, blah, and I'm 79 out of 80 on the joint exams. It's gutting, and I can't make the 18th, sadly.
Yeah,
I'm not here. Otherwise, I'd be champing at the bit, as they say, or champing at the wit, even.
yeah. Well, there is an exam going to be run in Edinburgh in January. I know that much. So maybe if you wanted to jump on it, a tasting exam. Maybe you wanted to jump on it, you could do that. I don't know whether it's up in the planner yet, but a chap called Ian Carswell's running the exam. We had one this year in Edinburgh. I proctored it with Sam Tate, and Ian's like, yeah, we're definitely going to have one next January. And he emailed me a few weeks ago and said, yeah, just giving you advance notice. I want you to come and proctor the exam in January 2027. So he's certainly going to hold one. So look out for that.
I will. I'll do the same thing and turn that into a trip as well.
Yeah. I mean, as you're going up to Edinburgh, you might as well go for a few days.
Exactly.
I couldn't do that last time, unfortunately, because my other half was going away the following day, and I had to be back for the kids. Also, it's the same weekend as Scotland were playing France in the Six Nations, and the whole of Edinburgh was full of Frenchmen. Which is better than full of Scots, I suppose. But, yeah, so that's the story for that.
And having national judges in turn means that it's easier for us to start raising the bar for judging again, and getting more people involved.
Exactly.
As well.
It will be.
Gets that ball rolling.
It should be much easier. Like, as I say, it just saves a lot of pissing around now that I know that if I could really, in theory, now just schedule a yearly tasting exam every July or whatever, and we should be able to fill it up every year. So I think that's what I'll probably try and do. Try and have a set weekend each year that we do it. I mean, they've tried saying to us in the past, like, oh, you guys should try maybe running an exam in conjunction with a competition or something. It just like doesn't work that way. We don't have the space.
Mhm.
It's not like in the States where they seem to have their competitions in these like big halls and things, and they seem to have like loads of space to do everything over there. Over here, we're reliant on breweries and pubs to hand over their space to us for a couple of hours, and then they want us to get the fuck out of there. They don't want us like hanging around again. So we're going to do an exam now,
Yeah.
So as I explained to the exam director that sort of approach doesn't really work. The last time we did actually try that, which was at BrewCon about 4 or 5 years ago. Um, most of the proctors and the candidates all got pissed the night before, and it made for a rotten exam the following month.
Yeah, because you want the space to concentrate and a clear head and a
Yeah.
clear palette, I guess, as well, don't you? And how do people find out? I mean, you mentioned a calendar just now, so there's like an exam calendar on
Yeah,
BJC.
there's on the BJCP website. It's quite easy to find. Just go
Yeah.
to just even if you put in Google BJCP exam calendar, it will come up. Yeah.
Cool. Brill. Thanks. All right. And now the weather after the news. No, that's it for news, I think. So does anyone want to have a little break, or do you want to go into like the kind of questions that have been left on the doorstep that we can have a little answer? There's some specific ones. We got a few. There's Jacques wanted to know how does one package and bring caked beer to a meeting such that it tastes the same as served from the keg at home, I'm guessing. We've got Anthony, who's not here, wanted to know what everyone's hangover remedy of choice was, which is quite topical, I'm assuming. And Jack Packham, for anyone who brews on a stovetop, how do you handle the mashing and what issues have you run into or solved? And then anything else that anyone's got. So those are the things we've got. If anyone wants to get a refill, there's probably a good moment and come back and chew through a couple of those, however long people have got. Don't know, hour or something. Whatever you like. Whoever wants to do what. Go and have a wee, get a refill.
Yeah. Boom. Another break. You put that up? Yes. I thought you did. I opened something, which I didn't know whether it was fish. And there are only two parcels, so I'm guessing there are all 5 items in the 2 parcels. Hopefully. Sorry? Hopefully. Yeah. Steve, I don't know whether you've ever tried anything from Arpus.
Oh, it's a lot of fruit and smoothie sour. No, I haven't. Where are they from?
Lithuania.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How's
So
that?
I'm going to open it now in a minute.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, no, I tried them out. We went out to Budapest last year to the Budapest Beer Week,
Oh, yeah.
and they were there. And there's always a hype brewery at these things, and they were the ones who had the queues before they even opened, and they were the ones that sold out first.
What were they called again?
Arpus.
Arpus. Do you know that, Jack? You're a Lithuanian visitor.
Well, I'm more interested in the traditional breweries. This looks like a craft beer brewery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I managed to get hold of a couple of
Oh,
cans.
nice. Where did you get them from?
Oh, it was somewhere I hadn't bought from before. It was something like Craft Beer Shelf or something like that. It was. They had some good stuff. Ooh. It needs a swirl.
Get all the fruit out of the bottom.
Spoon out.
There was quite a list of fruit on the front, I noticed.
Guava, strawberry, peach, orange, and vanilla.
And it's a smoothie sour.
Yeah. Very nice.
Yeah.
Trying to see what the ABV is. I don't think it's massive.
So what were the highlight Hungarian beers if it was in Budapest?
So their sort of crazy stuff is Mad Scientist, I think is one of them. There's another one as well, which I can't remember. But Mad Scientist, I had a spinach and banana beer, which was so gloopy they couldn't get it out of the tap. So they just had the pipe coming out of the keg. And then when you wanted it, they just pinched the pipe and then they just unpinched it, poured your bit, and then pinched it back up.
Did you have some of that?
Yeah.
Spinach and banana.
Yeah. There was something else in it as well. I can't remember, but it was spinach
Something
and
to
banana.
bridge the gap between
Yeah.
I'd hope.
But there was all sorts of stuff there. It wasn't just Hungarian stuff. There was like Firestone Walk over there with like barrel aged this and that and the other. It's yeah. I think this year's was last weekend. And the 2027 tickets have just gone on sale for the early birds. But it was a really good time.
What did you have? What stood out? Is there anything you specifically went for as well?
Nothing particularly went for, but there was somebody who was doing I can't remember what it was now. They were doing a porter with prunes in it, and there was literally bits of like prune skin in it as well. So you had you had a little chew on the prune skins, and I said how much I enjoyed. I can't remember where they were from, but I said how much they enjoyed it, and they thought it was brilliant that a British bloke liked their porter.
The prunes are very British. Well, they're quite European, aren't they? Prunes, actually. Yeah. It's not even a British thing, is it? I think prunes are quite widespread.
I got a feeling it was prune and walnut, but there weren't bits of walnut in it, but there were certainly bits of prune in it.
That sounds like it would work really well, though.
Yeah.
Prunes are plums, aren't they? Dried plums. Is that the same thing? They always taste a lot different to a plum, though. Oh, that sounded good.
Yeah, if you ever fancy, I recommend Budapest for a week, because it's a week with like fringe events and that sort of thing, and then they have like a beer fest, a 3-day beer festival, and it's basically one price, and then it's all you can drink.
Wide-eyed expression you made there. Oh dear. So you indulged in as many as you could. That sounds right.
Exactly. I mean, only small pours, of course, but as many small pours as you can handle, and then make it back on public transport.
Nice. It's always a challenge. Is Stuart coming back? Do you think? Oh, there's the brew revision. Thanks, Jack. Oh, I'll save that.
See, Tracy's on the line as well. Hi, Tracy.
Hello
Oh,
there.
yeah. Hello.
How you doing? Hiya.
How's it going?
It's okay. Yeah, not bad.
All right.
I'm brewing some porter at the moment. So I asked a few questions in the chat on Slack, and yeah,
Yes.
I was so surprised. I got responses back in about a couple of minutes, which was just as well because I was already brewing it. So that was good.
Oh yeah, your crystal malt.
There's usually
Yeah, it was all
lurking there.
horribly out of date. Yeah.
Have you given it a taste yet?
No, it's brewing. I only started it, yeah, that day.
Okay.
So we'll see what happens. I mean, if it's all out of date, it's free. I mean, I'm only going to throw it away.
Exactly.
No. Give it a go.
Oh. Are you able to bring some in at some point?
Oh, I don't think you'd want it. I mean, I'm on a steep learning curve.
It's exactly what everyone's here for, though.
Okay. All right,
All
then.
in the same boat.
Oh yeah. Well, every day's a school day in lab.
That's what other Stephen said, and it won a gold.
Yes.
That's it.
Exactly.
And that was also a port.
Incredible.
Yes. That's exactly. Yeah. That literally yesterday that happened.
Amazing.
So yeah, never know.
But I'm not mashing or anything. I'm just using dried malt extract and packets of yeast. Yeah, that's all I'm doing.
Yeah, that's fine. You know, brew how you like. There's no rules in the club that say you have to do this, that, or the other. We're all here to help each other out at the end of the day and try and improve our brewing skills. And as Paul said on your thread, you never stop learning. That's why I'm still coming to the club after 15 years or something.
Oh, really?
Always something that you pick up when you come along.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we all, to be honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised that 99% of the people would say they started in exactly the same place.
Yep. I started
and moved on to grain, etc., etc. So
yeah. So at the moment, I'm just using DME on the stovetop, but I'm soaking a few grains, so it's kind of better than just opening a can and doing a kit. But it's just finding all the ingredients. It used to be that I could buy a box and everything was in there in the amounts that I wanted. And that company, I can't remember what they were called, they've stopped now. So it's a case of buying ingredients. And because it's all online, you don't know the date on anything. So yeah, I'm having a few problems with that, especially if they don't put the date on. I can't imagine how they get away with that. Like best before dates. I mean, how do they get away with that?
Have you tried the Malt Miller recipe generator? So you can put in your exact ingredients and then they mill it all, bag it all up in one hit and then ship you the entire thing.
Oh, okay.
It's really useful. done that a few times now, which
I
you've kind of
think
got.
they even do. They will even sell you wort these days.
Yeah,
They've
they do.
got
Fresh
so
work.
many different
Yeah.
ways and so many different kits. You can have all grain from them. You can have a wort kit from them. You can have the traditional old 2 liters of sticky mess, which you pour into a tub with lots of hot water and pour. They've got pretty much every type of kit, and they're
Mm.
pretty good at catering for almost any need.
Okay, I'll look out for that.
I stuck a link to the recipe
Oh, thank you.
generator in the thingy.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Where are they
Um,
based? Do you know?
Where are they?
Swindon.
Swindon.
Somerset, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Swindon.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you've a mind to do more education on it, they have got a huge back diary of YouTube videos covering pretty much anything you can think of in brewing.
Ah, YouTube as well.
Every type of bit of kit,
Yeah.
all of the various different testing bits, the various different tools you'll use in a normal brew day. They pretty much covered everything in all their videos. Got quite an extensive library.
Brilliant. Thank you. That'd be useful. Thank you.
I think
I mean,
Rob
not to say
himself.
that our diary isn't very good. Obviously, the back history of Slack videos are pretty good.
Hmm.
In terms of reading and process, I think the Bible for beginners is usually John Palmer's How to Brew.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. There's the book, isn't there? There's the like the third edition of the book, but he's got the website up, hasn't he, of the first edition of the book, which is like a
Yeah.
freebie thing you can just
Even
browse through.
even the free one on the website is
Really
really
good. Yeah,
good.
it's really
Yes.
good.
The book just elaborates on water and stuff, but the process and stuff is actually free to read. Yeah.
The same, yeah.
Yeah.
Is it still up? I'm
I
assuming
thought
it's
it
still
had
up.
gone down. Like last time I tried to link to it, it wouldn't work. But that might have just been I mean, I've got a hard copy of it anyway. But
Yeah.
Yeah, same.
Hmm.
Just having a look.
Okay.
yeah, I mean, even though that book was probably written 30 years ago, it's
Yeah,
all like still relevant. It
Right.
hasn't got like some of the more modern stuff in it, but all of the techniques and everything are still totally relevant.
Hmm.
yeah. There you go. It's in the link as well. Yeah, it seems to be up still.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's it's nice and straightforward, that his site, isn't it? And his book.
So what yeast are you using for the porter, Tracy?
So I had some Nottingham yeast, and that was in date, and I kept it in the fridge, but it felt soft. So I went back to using Safe Ale, but I got a US 051. I usually use Safe Ale 04 for a pale beer that I brew with elderberries to try and get it. I think it was like Badger's Glory copy.
Oh, yeah, I know that one. Yeah, yeah.
I don't know that.
Yeah.
All of those are quite good. I
Yeah,
think some people have even used them past the expiry date and it's still okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah.
I just don't want to tempt fate. I mean, we've got enough problems going down without using stuff out of date as well. But yeah, okay. If I put it in and it doesn't look like it's working, can you put in more yeast afterwards, or is that a no?
You can put
Yeah.
in more yeast afterwards, but when is afterwards? If nothing happens for 24 hours, that can be quite normal.
Okay.
Um, Usually wait at least 3 days. If nothing happens after 3 days, then there's a problem.
Yeah.
But also, it could be that it's fermenting. You just don't see anything or notice anything. An
Oh,
airlock bubbling is usually a sign that things are happening. But
okay.
if there's, say, a little hole and the air's escaping, it could just be coming out there. Um,
Yeah, I've
It's
had
difficult
that.
to tell.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah, that first half a day or a day, it's the yeast is kind of getting used to its environment and multiplying, and it's doing other stuff, not bubbling yet. So it is doing stuff, but just on the quiet, I guess, isn't it?
Okay. My,
Especially the US-05, yeah, it can take a while. Sorry.
okay. Yeah. Usually they kick off quite quickly within 24 hours because I try to aerate it with a handheld food mixer, and I've got to get a cordless drill because if I keep doing this, one of these days I'm going to drop it in there. So it's not good.
Yeah, I used to do that cordless drill with a paint mixer on the end of it. But
Heat mixer.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. If you're using dried yeast, you don't actually need to aerate the wort because the yeast comes pre-oxygenated in its packaging. It's got everything in it, nutrient-wise, that it needs to be able to reproduce and start fermenting. You only need to worry about oxygenating your wort once you move over to, if you decide to wet yeast.
Okay. So what I usually do is I put it in um, some warm water. I leave it for 15 minutes and I stir it. So then I usually can tell. That was another thing. I've had yeasts where I thought they just don't smell like they're active, but I've got nothing to compare it to. I mean, should they all smell like they're doing something, or do some just don't have a scent?
They all smell like relatively similar. That you have a
Okay.
okay. You just
Okay.
described the smell as being a bit yeasty. It's almost like a kind of a slightly appley kind of aroma.
Mm,
Usually, you tell if you put the yeast on the water and it sinks straight to the bottom, that's usually not a good sign.
okay. That's helpful. Thank you.
But you can also, if that happens, you can prove the yeast by you could just chuck in like a teaspoon of sugar and see if it starts reacting to it. But yeah, usually good yeast,
Oh,
as soon as you chuck it in, it will sit on the top and it will gradually soak up the water. I mean, you've seen this already, and then you stir it in, you get a nice like kind of creamy, almost like a sauce that it turns into, and you know then that
yeah.
that's gonna like kick off.
That's going to go. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
I've even just sprinkled it on the top these days still. So I think sometimes they, even on the packet or on like Lallemand website or whatever, they say don't need to bother rehydrating it, you just chuck it in.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
they pretty much all say that, but that's because
yeah,
they don't want you to engage in a process which then might get back to them and cause you to be saying their product is faulty.
yeah, okay, yeah.
So they say to use it in a very particular way, but it's supposed to be a documented fact that if you pitch dried yeast straight on top of wort, you can lose up to 50% of the viable cells.
Oh, really? Okay. Is
But
that because
people
they?
say, and we've all done it. You just pitch it, and it just goes. I mean, like, well, nothing wrong with that then. So there's a lot of these, hard and fast rules in brewing that people, you know, circumvent all the time without seemingly having any trouble whatsoever. So it's a
Mm,
little bit of a kind of horses for courses thing as well. You kind of do
mm.
what your method, what works for you ultimately. But yeah, I mean, I would tend to rehydrate dried yeast if I'm making a beer that's over 1050 gravity. I would rehydrate it.
Okay.
And is that just so it's more on the go by the time you add it, kind of thing? It's already awakened, as it were.
Yeah, it's just that the higher the gravity, if you've
Mm,
got a fall off in viability, there's more chance that the yeast is going to get stressed and produce off flavors. So with a lower gravity wort, it doesn't matter so much, right?
Mm.
That's my thinking.
mm. Ah, okay.
That's another thing. I used some yeast nutrient but on the tub it said it was only for wine. It didn't mention beer, but I put it in anyway. And then I read that I really should have boiled it for the last 5 minutes with the wort when it was boiling rather than just put it in. So that's
into
another.
the fermenter.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens with that.
Was that
Couple
diammonium
somewhere.
phosphate?
I don't know.
That's usually the yeast nutrient that's for wine. I think I remember the guy from. We had a chat with one of the guys from Lalamont, didn't we, a few years ago? What's his name? Andrew Patson. And he was saying basically, yeah, diammonium phosphate is not really that good for beer yeast.
Oh,
You can use yeast nutrient, but I wouldn't use too much of that stuff. I can't remember his reasoning behind it, but I do remember him talking about it. But there's plenty. If you want to use yeast nutrient, there's plenty of other supplements out. I mean, I use it all the time. It's again, you're supposed to not need to do it with dried yeast, but belt and braces, it's not going to do any harm, right? It's not going to make it any worse. So, and it might make it better. So
yeah.
I always chuck in a little bit. So
I do.
Yeah, I've got a mixed finings and nutrient mix that I throw in every brew. So,
What one do you use?
just malt Miller, straightforward, yeast nutrient, nothing fancy, just the packets, and it comes in nice handy packets. There's the right amount for a 20-litre batch, which is great for me. So again, I'm doing all grain, so I am boiling it. It's going in 15 minutes before the end of the boil. So
Okay.
I think they usually mention phosphates, zinc, and amino acids are usually the good ones or the beer ones.
Okay.
You'll get phosphates naturally if you're mashing, because it's found in the barley husk.
In the barley, isn't it?
And amino acids as well.
Yeah,
So I often
yeah.
wonder, it's
Yeah.
just the zinc then.
Exactly, zinc, and it's been
Yeah.
known for a good few years now that zinc is actually really the critical thing
Yeah.
for making yeast really take off. And when I've done a thing recently where I've acquired some chemical zinc, zinc sulfate, and I've made up some little vials that I now pitch into my work, but it works out like 0.5 of a milliliter for 10 mil for a 10-litre batch. But I mean, that's kind of, we're talking like sort of advanced pissing around with stuff here now. I wouldn't be worrying about it on a beginner level. I mean, I'm talking about as well reusing yeast, and as well, if you want to reuse wet yeast, you definitely need to be giving it nutrients and stuff on reuse.
Okay.
But yeah, you're probably not on that boat yet.
No, not yet.
Not yet, but you will.
You will be. Yeah. It's a right rabbit hole, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
When you
You
make
wait
your
till it
first
takes
good
you
beer.
over.
Yeah. Shall I lead that on to Jack Packen's question about, for anyone who brews on a stovetop, how do you handle mashing? Does that seem like a segue? We could help answer him. What issues do you run into? When he's saying, how do you handle mashing? I think, does he mean, do you have it like in a bag in your stewing pot? I'm not
Well,
quite
I mean,
sure what he means.
Jack's not here, so he can't actually tell us, can he?
No, I know.
I mean,
I did my first couple on a stove pot as well, and I was like, had all the saucepans out, and it came. I think I got a Punk IPA kit, and it came with the demijohn and like a mashing bag and stuff like that. And then I just stuck it in the biggest saucepan I had, didn't even buy anything for it. And from what I remember, it's the kind of when you get to the point where you need to drain the wort, and you're like, oh, oh God, it's all. Where do I put the mash bag now that it's dripping everywhere? And I need to keep the liquid in this pot over here, but I've got to put this somewhere, and it's hot and sticky. And I wish I'd have thought of it before, kind of thing.
And you
So
have to
maybe
hold it
that.
now for half an hour.
Say that again.
And then you have to hold it while it's dripping for half an
Yeah,
hour.
exactly.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to squeeze it because it says that will
Yeah.
be you'll squeeze all the tannins into it and have an astringent beer. So you have to.
Yeah, I mean, this is what will happen if you attempt to do brew in a bag without any kind of pre-planning. And I mean, a few people have asked me why do I still use a mash tun with my stove top? And I mean, and that is your answer right there, so that I don't have to do that.
You don't have to lift
So I
anything out.
still use a cool box mash tun, and then just run it off and voil out with a jug like normal. And then when I'm done, I lift the bag out, give it a quick squeeze, and dump it in those big rubber laundry trucks.
Yeah.
One of those lined with a bin liner. Just dump it in there, turn it upside down, shake all the loose grain out, rinse the bag out in the sink. Done. Don't get too sticky. Little bit, but not too
Yeah.
much.
So you're not stirring the grain once it's in your tub, just letting it sit.
Only when I mash in. No, yeah. So I leave it, and then the way that I would then sparge would be, yeah, I use like perforated foil on top of the mash, or if I'm lazy and I haven't got the perforated foil and I haven't spent 10 minutes stabbing holes in it with a skewer, I will sometimes just use a colander,
I was going to say a
and
colander, would
which
that
has a
work?
similar effect. Because what you don't want to do when you're mashing like that is to just pour the liquor straight on, because you create a channeling effect and then you reduce your efficiency. So
Mm.
keeping the foil on the top, it acts like a little barrier so that the liquor just gently seeps through the holes, and then you can just keep recycling on top of the foil.
Is the idea with
And
the sparge?
I sort of keep the grain bed afloat at the same time. I don't ever completely drain it until right at the end.
What
But
does
yeah,
what does that do? So if it's kind of still like swooshing around, you mean, rather than let it dry right out, let all the water drip out? Is that's just allowing the water to circulate between the grains and get as much of the sugars out the bottom as
the
possible?
danger is if you let the grain bed completely drain, is the grain bed can then get compacted, and then what you'll have to do is mix it all back in again when you add the sparge water, and then wait ages before you can get clear wort running off again. And
Just
supposedly
mixing it
you're
all
not
up
supposed
belts
to
it up.
disturb the grain bed because you can extract tannins.
So you're
So
supposed to leave it.
it's like a cross between batch sparging and fly sparging. Fly sparging, obviously, you've got continual spray gently going round, whereas I'm just sort of continually pouring it in with a jug. Or when I've got my big setup going outside, I have a
Mm.
pump that pumps it round.
And
There's some
leaving the grain
lovely
bed.
clear wort there as well. Lovely clear wort.
Yeah. So is that what happens? It was when you don't disturb the grain bed, or the gunk basically doesn't, or get you're not disturbing all the gunk, and that's not all
Yeah,
washing through into your clear wort.
yeah.
So leave it
Okay.
alone, and it kind of
Okay.
filters itself, doesn't it? It filters all the cack out into the in between the grains, doesn't it? It
In
captures all of
theory,
that
yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
In theory, yeah. So don't
yeah,
stir it all up.
yeah. And then I give the bag a squeeze and make sure all of that cat gets mixed back in with the wort.
Belter.
And when it comes to then boiling, with very hoppy beers, I would put the hops in hop bags. Um, Otherwise, you can find it quite difficult to get the beer into a fermenter afterwards. But I've got this giant cone Yeah, it's just a cone filter, and it's got a mesh filter that sits in the bottom of it, which is really, I can't remember where I got it from. I've never seen it ever again. It's really good. You can just lift the filter out, so you can pour all your wort in there, and it just captures the hops. This is if you're putting them in the wort loose, captures the hops, and then you stop pouring, and then you just lift the thing out, give it a couple of shakes, get the loose stuff off, rinse it under the tap, put it back on, do it again. It was one of the best bits of brewing kit I've ever bought. It was only like 10 quid.
So is it like a hop spider? Do you mean? So you
No, it's
put
actually like imagine like a funnel you get in the kitchen for doing any kind of
okay,
work like you would normally do, but
yeah.
only like a massive version of that with a space in the middle where you put a very
Oh,
fine meshed filter.
interesting. Oh, might require a picture of that at some
Yeah,
point.
I'll have to go and maybe I'll go and grab it.
'Cause I'm trying to envisage it. I think I've got it.
Hmm.
Yeah, I
Can you
think
Might
we
go
be.
and
all
grab
have
it?
slightly different setups, don't we? So that makes it difference as well. I mean, mine's an all-in-one system. So I'm doing my mashing kettle and everything all in the one container, which is a slightly different setup. I did have just the mash pipe, but now I've gone for a bag as well, just to stop some of the debris from getting through. So it's almost double filtered.
So you've got a bag inside the mash pipe that is suspended
Yes,
in the
yeah.
wort thing as well. Ah, okay.
Mine's a
Yeah.
little bit different to some others as well because I bought the cheapo. Um, it was an S40, so it was a Grainfather cheap version, not the G40, but the S40. And so it doesn't have it's got a recirculation arm, but not in the same way as the G40 does, and doesn't have a top plate and bottom plate. I've just got the mash pipe that lips out, and that's it, sort of thing.
So,
But
and finding that leaks grains and then they go into the pump and
well, the pump's pretty good actually. I don't have too much problem with that. It's just about minimizing the amount of debris getting into the wort, really,
okay,
so that
yeah,
you don't have as much in there when you go for the boil, sort of thing.
yeah, okay.
If you're stove top brewing a bag, then it's I think you're supposed to use a fine crush on the grain. I think that's another thing that's recommended.
Yeah,
Is that to like increase the efficiency because you're
Yeah. So
not?
if you did buy your grains off malt miller, for example, you can buy them uncrushed, crushed,
Mhm,
or fine crush.
yeah,
And that's the reason for that, for brewing a bag stuff.
I see
and
going
the
back.
fine crush means that the liquid will flow out of your bag quicker, or you'll be able to extract the sugars more easily from a fine crush. If you're doing brew in a bag, you don't have to sparge the whole thing. Basically, the whole
I think
lot
yeah,
will
if you're
all pop
doing a
out.
stove top brew in the bag and you're expecting to boil in the same kettle or same
Right.
pot, then you're probably not sparging. You're probably just mashing and then lifting the bag out and carrying on.
So you want to give it the best chance possible
Hence
on the
why
first
I
go,
guess you have the fine crush. Yeah.
so you get the most out of it.
Oh, I've got to go in a
Did you
minute,
find it?
so I thought I'd just quickly
Oh,
show you
yes. Mm.
my filter.
Oh yeah.
Here you go, fine mesh filter
Oh,
sits in there. Looks like that.
Wow.
Simples. So I
and
think
then
I got it from Hop and Grape in Darlington when that was a thing. I wouldn't know where you could get one from now.
so the hops sit in the top of the funnel.
Yeah, I mean it's fine enough that it will catch pellet
Yeah.
hops as well. You do have to keep emptying it out though. If you're making something like an IPA, yeah, you would. I mean, if I was doing an IPA, I'd put them in hot bags anyway, because otherwise I'd spend half the day just emptying that filter out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been an incredible investment that for
Ah.
£10.
Hang on a moment.
Here's one
Well, if
we
you've got one
prepared
too.
earlier.
There we are. Similar.
But does it have the filter? Oh, right.
Ah, cool.
Yeah. I bought it years ago. I can't remember. Yeah.
And then one more time, it sits in the wort.
Well, no, I just put it in the top of the fermenter when it's cool. You know, when it's cool and I'm putting it in, ready to pitch the yeast. So.
So it just
Yeah.
filters out any hops and cold break and anything from the cool boil. Anything from the kettle that remains, it just filters that out to pour into the fermenter. Is that right?
I see.
Well,
You're
yeah,
pouring the wort through it.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
So that sits on the top of your fermenter and the wort's going through that and catching all the bits of crap.
Essentially, it just captures the hops. I mean, the hot break and the cold break, they go into the fermenter.
Yeah.
That's just how I brew now.
Now I understand.
Lots of people spend a lot of time trying to filter out all of the break material from their fermenters, but there's a lot of evidence to suggest that break material contains stuff that's very beneficial to yeast health.
Oh.
Oh,
Okay, so I've got this kind of big, it's like a big sieve that's about this big, and it's got arms on it. So I put that over the fermenting bin. Then I put the colander in that with the big holes, and then I put muslin inside that. But now maybe I'm straining out too much because you're saying something should go through, not the hops, but something from the rest. So you don't want it to be too fine then. Is that right?
Yeah, no, I'm saying it doesn't need to be too far. I'm not saying
Okay.
that you have to allow this stuff through, but I mean for years, breweries and people and home brewers have been trying to stop all of that break material going into the fermenter,
Yes.
and you don't really need to.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Right, I've got to go, everybody. My son wants me to finish off a game we started playing yesterday. So I'll see you all
I
very
actually
soon, hopefully.
also have to go, so thank you, everyone.
No worries. Take care, guys.
Okay.
Cheers.
Oh, we didn't
Bye.
get to your question though, Jack,
I
about
know, but
packaging.
I don't know. It's getting late.
You want to do that in 5 minutes?
Okay, I think I could do 5 minutes.
Are you talking about keeping the oxygen out so it tastes exactly like it does
Well,
out of
not
your keg?
necessarily the oxygen, but if I've got keg beer and then what I want to take it into lab, and I very often, I think a lot of people have said this, oh, it doesn't taste like it does at home.
Yeah.
I've found, I've done this so many times now, that yeast that aren't as flocculent, like wheat beers and so on, are worse off when you do this. So what I do is I've got like a 2 liter bottle with what do you call them? What do we call them? Those little
Carbonation cap.
a carbonation cap. Yeah, there we go. With a little pipe at the bottom. I fill the whole thing up with CO2 first, and then I pressurize it to the same pressure that the keg is, keep the keg pressurized, and then I slowly open the cap such that it pours into the bottom, and it happens really, really slowly.
Yeah.
And just fill it up, and the CO2 just leaves, and then the bottle's full, and it should be fine, right? And then by the time, and I do that in the afternoon, and then by the time I take it to lab and share it with everyone, it just doesn't taste the same. And I think Stuart, you've said the same as well.
Yeah, I have. I mean, and
No,
I'm using 4 liter Oxabar, and I'm doing keg to keg transfer, absolutely no air. pressurizing the ox bar first, and then you've got all the right cap connections. It's filling from the bottom of the ox bar, and I mean, I think there's a couple of factors. One is the transport. You are carrying it about for, I mean, I'm not saying, most of my stuff's bright now that I bring in these days, so that's not so much of a problem from that point of view, but it is getting joggled about. It's changing temperature from whatever you wanted it to be at by the time you've got it to marsh paddle. Then invariably it's crack open the oxabar when we get there, pour it into a jug, and then it gets run upstairs and poured into glasses. For me, I think that's the bit where it loses out, because I have the little mini ox bar, and what I've got is my 20-litre kegs in the garage, kept at a nice stable temperature. I'll tap 4 litres off into my ox bar, put that in my fridge in the house, and it drinks relatively well from there. But I wonder if it's not that. And I don't know why some would benefit and some wouldn't. I don't understand the science part of that, but some just don't do that transfer to jugs and on. It is also possibly true that my sense of taste is not defined enough that my drinking it at home and what everybody else tastes at lab are two different things, because I'm not being totally honest with my own tasting.
But I think
I can believe as well.
people have
You're not
said the
alone.
same thing.
Don't think it's you.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's everyone kind of experiences it, I think. And
I think definitely the pour into jugs, pour into glass does.
So you think that last mile, that very last bit, is the bit where it's getting oxygenated? Oh, sorry, oxidized almost.
Well, you wouldn't have thought it would happen that quickly, but I think
depends what the style is, maybe.
Yeah,
but
maybe.
When I've got bottled beer, then it's usually quite similar. It's just the transferring from keg, which makes me think it's the actual putting it into a vessel from the keg process. But it's almost like beer just doesn't like being pushed around and
So how are you getting it from the keg into a bottle? Is that what you're doing there? As normal. So is that going in with what, counter pressure or party tap or?
So Mark Sanderson, he suggested the first bottle you put it into. So it's like a 2-liter sparkling water bottle with a carbonation cap. He said fill that up with water and then you pump CO2 into it so that you know it is only CO2 in that bottle.
The only thing I say about that is you're not guaranteed to get all the water out, and that's going to have oxygen in it.
Yeah.
So possibly that's an issue. It's like if you're putting star san in and you're not going to get all of that out, that's probably going to leave a sort of a residual oxygen element.
Some of those styles, it really doesn't take very much. I think I was talking to someone about it on the weekend as well. There's a really good video. There's an Australian homebrewer guy, YouTube channel, and he was showing. He was like, "It's amazing how little oxygen it takes to oxidize your beer and lose the flavor and change the color." So he put it into a PET bottle and just filled it to like the top, left like the inch at the top, like normal, and then screwed the cap on. And then he did a second one. He was like, "This is a really good trick." To then leave the same inch in the top, but then squeeze the PET bottle so that the beer is sitting right on the top, and then put your cap on. And if you're kind of bottle priming it, like leftovers from the fermenter or whatever, once it starts doing the secondary fermentation, the bottle just fills back out again. But you've definitely got you've got as the least possible air, oxygen in there. And then he was like, so this is the difference. Like 2 weeks later or a week later, this is perfectly clear and yellow, or whatever it was. And this is the brown oxidized one that tastes as you would imagine. And he was like, it's the tiniest bit can really like screw up your. Yeah, I think you're right, Stuart. There's a lot of scope. All of those, there's the water in the bottle. There's the moving it around, like running for the bus. You're shaking it up. You're getting that tiny bit of oxygen is now all in your beer, and then it's poured into the jug, and then it's poured into the glass. And I think if you did that in the pub, you'd probably notice as well. I'm wondering, that's the reason maybe Mark Sanderson brings in these little mini kegs and serves it from the table in straight into people's glasses, because he's quite anal about it, and probably quite rightly. He's like, you know what? You can have the most perfect production process, but that very last bit can just screw the whole thing up.
Yeah,
So
I'm
he
just
was,
thinking back on mine and whereas, I mean, I know that I will, with my Oxabar, I know that I will open it to empty out the Star San or the Chem San, whatever. And then I will put CO2 into it, purge, CO2, purge, CO2, purge, in order to try and push it out. But I wonder whether I should be putting CO2 in and giving it 10 minutes for the
because you're mixing
oxygen
the air, though.
CO2 to equalize, because we know CO2 is heavier. If I give it 10 minutes, then purge.
I don't think it's that much heavier that it will settle to the bottom.
No?
I had a look at this up as well, because I always think you've got a bottle, it's got air in it, you put CO2 in it, you've just now got a massive mixture of air and
Yeah.
CO2, and it doesn't settle out, that whole kind of CO2 blanket business.
Right.
It's not like
not
it's made
true.
of lead. It's not going to
So
protect it.
that's maybe where I'm failing then. Like, I mean, that's fine. I mean, I just means I've got to
Well, I
get
don't know.
a new internal for my Oxabar, because the pipe I've got doesn't go to the bottom, so I'm not getting all of the Chemsan out if I don't
Yeah.
empty it out by hand, as it were, So
It
I was
would,
judging the IPAs on the weekend, and they were all like pretty good. There was no off flavors or anything like that. And the discussion on the table was the IPAs category almost becomes a packaging competition, because it's much more about that. Everyone can make like some really fantastic hazy IPAs, but it's getting it to the glass without losing any flavor, keeping all the fresh hops in it. And it was like, yeah, you know what? It's becoming much more of a packaging competition,
it
especially
would
for
be
IPAs.
it would be interesting to do a DO dissolved oxygen
Yeah.
test, wouldn't it? What it is in the keg, and then after you put it in your packaging, and see if that is in fact what it is causing it.
Yeah,
Because
one
I'm
of the
wondering if Panamaggio have got that, have got a DO meter kind of thing, and they're starting to apply the science, because homebrewing is getting that much closer to commercial brewing like all the time, that it's those margins that really will kind of make a lot of difference, I think.
One thing I always do in my process is put like a quarter of a teaspoon of ascorbic acid in at the last 15 minutes of the boil, because that's like oxygen scavenger supposed to be, and it carries through to the
Yes,
keg.
I've heard that one. It's a vitamin C, isn't it? Absorb, export. Can't say it.
Ascorbic.
Thanks. Yeah, I've
maybe
heard that.
I'll
That's a
get
good tip. And that's
maybe
a
I'll
tip.
get a little growler and some ascorbic acid, and and then problem solved.
I mean, maybe. I mean, maybe it's like lots of little things as well, rather than one silver bullet. It's probably a whole set of
but I think you're right. It's this
things.
sort of discussion that allows. I mean, that's. I mean, I've got something to go away and try now. I can just tweak my Oxabar filling a little bit and just make sure that that leg is a little bit more rounded out, and make sure that I've got that covered off a bit more. So
So, say again, are you filling it completely with Star San and then
I'll
pumping it out?
probably half full, giving it a good swisher out, giving it 20 minutes to make sure it's sanitized. But I am breaking it open to empty that out, because I can't drain it fully, or at least nowhere near as much as I'd like to.
So, are you able, with an oxybar, are you able to do the same thing as you can do with a corny keg? So, how I
Yes,
do it,
yeah,
which is fill completely to the top with star sand till it's all coming out of the PRV, out of the thing,
Yeah,
and
you
then
could do that.
pump all of the star sand out into another keg, so you're left with only CO2 in your keg, and then you put the the beer
It's
goes
harder in
down
the
the.
Oxabar because you don't have the
So I never
well
take the
that
lid
you
off.
would have. You know, in your corny keg, for example, you've got a well at the bottom where the feeder pipe goes into.
Mhm.
So you are draining from the very bottom and you can get all of it out. The Oxabar, you're not going to do that.
One
You,
thing I saw recently was somebody who wanted to get everything out as much as possible, and they tip the keg upside down and pull the PRV and let any residual drain out. So you've got
okay.
you've got a PRV on the tap-in head on the Oxabar.
I have indeed. Yes, that's a good point.
You could turn that upside down, pull the PRV, possibly drain a little bit more out.
Yeah, that would work. Absolutely. Yeah. And then just repressurize again anyway. Yeah, that would work. And again, it's closing out those little loops. That's the thing, you know, it's all these tiny little bits, and like you say, it's getting any oxygen in there at all is it's a bad idea at that point in the brew, right?
Tricky devil.
Which is why when I'm pulling it off my keg in the garage and drinking it, I'm quite happy with it. And then I pop it into lab and think, oh, hang on a minute, this is not the same. You know, there's my issue is that transfer point. So that's good. I mean, that's a question answered for me tonight, sir. As you say, every day's a school day.
Yeah, several school days. Any others? Anything else? I haven't got anything else on my list. Any other brewing questions?
No, the one that came to mind for me was just it's almost what are we not quite doing that certain people are? Because that you do see every time we'd run a competition, Mr. Sanderson, Jacques, come up to the top of the list, Ken, and you just sort of think, well, and the honest answer is, I probably know the answer of they do brew that much more. They do have the judging, tasting knowledge to know when a beer's right and when it's not. And I think just have that level of, I think the competition thing is a big thing. I've never really, I did a couple, but not really done much in it. And I think that Arthur, you'd probably be able to give us a better point on that. I mean, does that give you a huge amount of tweaking to your beers from the reviews you get back in your submissions?
Yes, it does. The thing that's a bit tricky is when you put the same beer into 2 or 3 comps and then the feedback's all a bit different, and it's like you're trying to work out which one's actually closer
Which
to the
one to
mark.
listen
But
to?
you have to sort of try to take an average of it all. But yeah, I mean, the feedback is invaluable. I mean, the feedback's definitely is what's helped me no end over the months and years. You know, so.
Yeah, that was about the only thing I had, I think. And I thought to say, I think I already answered it in my own mind before I even thought the question.
But it is totally a mix of experience and like trying loads of different things to see what doesn't work, and it's the getting it wrong isn't ever a mistake, as they always say, isn't it? It's just
True.
one way of finding out that that's not the way to do it, kind of thing. You know, that's a positive that you've kind of found out how not to do it, kind of thing, or learned something from it. But yeah, I mean, the other thing is to know, sign up and do some judging, go on the course. That, I mean, really helped me actually. I think because you get to taste loads of doing the beer judging tasting course was a right eye opener, because you got to try loads of styles you kind of never had before, and it just opened your brain up a little bit. I think it was good fun. But yeah, a bit of that, a bit of brewing every so often. I don't know. A bit of trying things out. I don't know. It's a difficult one, really, to know how you improve. I think it's just it's incremental, isn't it? It's not one of those things like Robert Johnson goes to the crossroads and suddenly comes back and like, I'm an amazing brewer. It's like
You're right there.
everyone's kind of plugging away for a few years until they kind of put it all together and get their own process right. But you kind of learn and read and talk to people in the meantime, I guess. And that's why I guess any homebrew club, and this one particular, I think, is so good because it's got that was the subtitle for this meeting, was it's like a hive mind kind of thing. There's so much knowledge bubbling around in here that you can pick up lots of tips and ideas all the time and suddenly go, oh yeah, of course, that's why I didn't think of doing that, and that's probably going to really help. And then
the one I've found, it's a bit of a weird one, but it's just been quite useful, is to actually go and visit people and actually have a brew day with people. And I think that's one thing we could do with almost organizing more, and almost have an informal place to have I'm doing a brew day if anyone fancies coming round. Because that sharing of ideas as it's happening is quite magical. I mean, I've been round to Mark's place when he's done a brew day. Granted, I came out slightly worse for wear, but it was a great day. We had a lovely day. I mean, Paul Spearman lives around the corner from me. Been tempted before now to say to him, come around, I'm having we'll have a beer and brew. Because I think you can learn a lot from other people's experience.
Yeah.
Just that simple. Oh, why are you doing that then?
Exactly.
Or,
yeah.
really? You do that? Oh, you don't need to do that. That's just. But
I think you're right. It's a really good one, that actually, and exactly that reason that your own process and you see someone do their process and you go, what's that what's that funnel you've got? Or like, why are you doing this, that?
I think,
I've never done it like that. You go, oh my God,
same thing as applies to life, right? If you're making a mistake, you'll continue to make the mistake. Until somebody points it out and says, you do realize you don't want to be doing that, right? As far as you're concerned, it's just part of your normal day, as it were.
That's a good point. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, it's a good way to learn those. Probably try and encourage a bit more of that, maybe. People going around to each other's place and just.
Yeah, you're right. It's interesting when you sort of talk to people and that they know exactly what they're doing and they mention something and you think, you what? It was like the one that stands out for me is when Ian Cozy was chatting on here a few meetings ago, and he said, and it was just in the middle of a sentence, it was like, oh yeah, I put in the pomegranate extract and blah blah blah. And somebody like, I'm thinking, what? And then somebody said, the what? Pomegranate powder. Pomegranate powder. It's like,
remind me, what was it?
I'm trying to. It's got some sort of ingredient in it that does something. Of course, he's a aficionado on his double IPAs, isn't he? And that's something that he uses. But it was second nature to him, and it was like I'd never heard of it, and quite a few other people had never heard of it.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, pomegranate powder. Keep me in the
It's something I've started to use now because of Ian, and I use about 1.3 grams in the mash. It's like an antioxidant. Again, it's hard to know if it works, but I stick it in anyway.
So it goes in the mash, is it?
Isn't it? Yeah, I'll just put mine in the mash. Yeah. So it's a very fine powder. So I'll just chuck it in with the grains.
Yeah, I keep meaning to get a bag of it, but it's in my Amazon cart. Not actually bought it yet.
That's a
Like you
good one.
say, Steve, a moment ago, I think it is just incremental gains all the time, isn't it? You know, you obviously you do a brew, you think that wasn't quite right, or that process wasn't quite right. Take lots of measurements, then just iterate. It's constant iteration. You know,
Mm.
I think Ken's done like about 400 brews or something crazy, hasn't he? Or something like that.
Well, it's nearly every Monday, isn't it? I mean, blimey,
It is,
brew
yeah.
day Monday.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Crikey. Yeah. So
I think one of the other things about the incremental point is to change one thing at a time, kind of like scientifically, so as you can actually tell if it's made a difference. So, you know, with a recipe that you know quite well,
Yeah.
then add in your pomegranate and should be able to work out whether it's made a difference. And that, you know, that might require that you've made that beer 4 or 5 times kind of consistently well, which is all part of the learning process in itself, I guess, as well. But yeah, that was
Life's too
quite.
short. It's a different beer every time.
Well, there is that too. Yes, there is that too. Yes, that's a good point. There's a lot. There's a lot to make.
And again, that's another thing. I mean, I've made probably 30 beers or whatever, but I'm doing 20-litre batches. You know, I'm not, Ken's doing a beer every Monday. There's no way I'm doing 20 litres every Monday and drinking the bloody stuff. So, yeah, I've got to maybe downsize my batches and run a few smaller ones and do more of them to get the iterations in. And I think that's the beauty of Ken's small batch brewing, is that
Mhm.
he's not building up a massive stockpile because he is turning it over a bit more. So
The disadvantage, of course, is if you get a good one and you've only got a small amount,
yeah, but
you can always
if
make it
you've
again.
been documenting, then you should be good to repeat it. So, but yeah, yeah.
True. True.
How's your new venture going, Steve?
It's up and running now. So we've got the all licensed. So I've got a little 230 litre micro brewery with Joel, who's another lab member, around the corner in Acton, so about 10 minutes away. There's a little microbrewery downstairs, and there's a bar upstairs with like a cafe and stuff. It's all part of this kind of like community organization, Republic of Park Royal, it calls itself as well. They're a great bunch. Well, one of the good reasons for taking it on was that the bar wants to sell local beer made by local brewers, and the previous guy had just moved on, so I stepped in. But yeah, there's a lot of setting up with HMRC to get the license to produce alcohol, and then the council for a premises license. So that was like 6 months worth of not being able to do anything. Although we did have a couple of test brews. Oh no, we didn't. I'm not allowed to say that. But yeah, it's going now. There's a rice lager is sitting in the fermenter. I need to go and check on that in the morning. But yeah, no, it's up and running now. It was a real slog, and just takes time to do. But yeah, now it's running, all licensed up and everything. Places to sell it, so it's just exactly what we were saying a minute ago. I'm very used to my own homebrew setup, and I can do that. And I've done a few hundred here, like over the years as well. But maybe only 4, 5, 6 up there.
Mm.
It's got different. I bought the kit off the previous guy, and I never brewed in a 3-vessel thing either. So it was learning that process, taking all the hoses off, reconnecting them all up for the next stage. It behaves differently at a different scale. It's not a massive scale, but for example, all the first few attenuated really low, like a porter was coming out at like 10:08 or something like that. I'm like, I'm supposed to be finishing at 10:20 or something like that, whatever it was, or finishing at 10:10, but quite a lot lower. We were trying to work out what's going on, and it makes it stronger, which isn't actually a good thing, because you want people trying to think of it commercially as well. You want it session strength, so that people will buy 5 pints rather than 2 and be shit faced on your beer that's you've made too strong. And it's all very exciting if it's very strong, but it doesn't actually sell all that well. And I think we worked out that the hot liquor tank isn't getting hot enough. So the water in there is maybe getting to 73, 74 degrees as a strike water. And I hadn't done strike water before. And then getting it into the mash tun, which is like right next to it, it's dropping like 10 degrees. So immediately your mash in is, and it's an unheated mash tun, so your mash in is like ends up at 63, 62. I think the first one I did, I was mashing at 59 or something like that. And I was like, I don't know what that's going to do other than not work very well. And then that beer came out finished at something ridiculous like 10:04. We were like, is it the yeast? Is it the shape of the fermenter? And we're like, no, it's the low mash temperature. It's really
changing what you're getting.
Yeah, so it's making a massively fermentable wort that is fermenting really quickly and easily and finishing really, really low. It's like, oh, how are we going to fix that? So again, exactly what we've just discussed. It's perfectly easy to change the temperature on a Braumeister. You just type the numbers in and it heats itself up, and you don't need to think about it. But doing this, it's like, well, we need to get some hot water from somewhere. So when I was doing it before, I was doing it on my own as well, like literally boiling the tea kettle and pouring boiling water in it to raise it like 1 or 2 degrees in 120 liters of mash. It's like, oh god, this isn't working.
Yeah,
so
I think
how do you do?
I did a one day when I first started, I actually got a retirement kind of, or voluntary redundancy from BP, and part of that was training. I got a certain fee towards new training to go on to a new job, in theory. The fact that I was retiring meant nothing to them, so I got a training scheme with the Institute of Brewing and Distilling and did a diploma with them, and managed to wangle getting into a brewery down in Kent one day. And what they were doing was pumping from the hot liquor tank into the mash tun and swirling it round the mash tun first, then pumping it back into the hot liquor, so that they brought the temperature of the mash tun up before mashing in.
So I've been doing that literally how you make a cup of tea. So warming the pot first.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I've been putting 20 liters of hot water in there, putting the lid on and leaving it for like 20 minutes. And then it's all hot and steamy. That made a big difference, actually.
It does, yeah. And it was a simple thing, and that was just a quick, run around to the pipes. So it wasn't really, and you're not actually losing water because you're just using.
Yeah, it made a big difference. And in fact, another time we did it, we heated up a load of water in the kettle instead, because that heated up really, really quick, and then pumped like 90 degrees water back into the mash tun to heat it up that way. It took so bloody long to do, but you kind of, like we all do, you just find a way, find a method until you've got a better method of doing it, because that's clearly not the solution, but it worked on that day to fix the problem, kind of thing. I quite like homebrewing like that. You have to think of things on the fly sometimes, and surprising when you're faced with a deadline what you can come up with.
Yep, indeed.
Very good.
Talking of deadlines, I'm probably going to have to drop off at this point, so I will thank you all for your company for the evening and say good night.
I think I do quite need an early night. Beginning to suffer.
Nice to see you all.
Lovely to see you all. And
thanks very much for your help. Yeah.
Not at all. I hope to see you with some up at the mash pedal at some point.
Yeah, maybe. beer. Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Sounds
Good.
good.
Do come along.
Cheers
All
all.
right.
Cheers,
Night all.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Take care.
Bye
Take
now.
care.
See you
Bye-bye.
later.
Bye.
Bye bye.